Up next on Inspiring Beauty and Believers.
People will change, men and women will change and give this person a representative of who they are just to get in a relationship with them. And so when you meeting the representative
I'm old.
course of life and you start trying to become your real self again, it don't work out later on in life. True authentic.
My mentor said keywords to me. He said, "Do you? Do you?" That's, what do you mean by "do you?" Bro, I work for an airline, and it was the hardest thing for me to get on a plane and go by myself. And one day, bro, the enemy would always use women. When I decided to go celibate, and really just get, and that was the thing that I had to surrender, was sex. That's the thing I had to give up. That was the one thing that I knew that was God in my life. And bro, one day I took a trip to San Francisco, and I purposely went there by myself. I hopped on a plane. I got on the BART. I caught the BART to downtown San Francisco, rented a bike, and rode to Pier 39 across the Golden Gate Bridge up to Battery Spencer. And I sat there, bro, and I write poetry myself too. So I wrote a poem. I cried. But bro, that was like just freedom for me. But I was doing me though. I was doing me.
Absolutely. Filling your tank,
Most
man.
men don't talk. No one ever asks a man, what's on your heart? What's on your mind? What's bothering you? Because we're so busy taking care of everybody else. Like you said, bro, we'll do everything for our wives and for our kids. And suppress all of our feelings, all of our wants, all of our desires. My desires are important to God. And you may not show that what's important to me is important to you, but it's important to God. And if it's important to God, it's important to me. And right now in my life, man, my kids know I will leave in a heartbeat. I'll go to the store by myself. I'll treat my wife, and I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful that she understands. And it was hard for her to understand that when we first met, that I can literally hop on a plane and go somewhere and walk around. But are you going by yourself? Yeah. One lady asked me at work, why are you by yourself? I said, I'm solo, by myself. And the woman 10 years ago, well, I'm going to come to the airport and go to San Francisco with you. This is a woman that was attracted to me. I said, don't come to this airport. I said, you come to this airport, you're going to get your feelings hurt. And I meant that. I was really prepared to cuss her out if she came to the airport. Do not come to this airport and show up to get on this plane with me. I had to go by myself. But bro, I've come to a point now, man, that I can, if you say you love me, and you walk away from me, yes, it will hurt me. I'll say it hurt me.
Right.
But I can set those feelings aside and still just do me. And that's most men. I just encourage men to get to that place. Because if I love myself at 10%, that's all y'all gonna get from me. I want to love myself at 100% so I can give you everything. Where it's not fake, where it's not phony. But it's so key, man, for men to talk. We don't have enough conversations like this with each other. And the devil knows that. The devil through this world always say, give a man some sex, give him some beer, give him something to drink, a strip club, a bar, and he's fine. Am I not worth more than that? I value something way more than just what's between your legs. And saying it to a woman today, as a single man, if you were a single man, oh, you must be gay, something wrong with you. No, baby, I love God. You may not understand. I love God.
Right.
And one lady in my job, I said to her, I said, how you doing, sweetheart? I said something polite to her one day. And she said, Michael, you gay? I said, Keisha, why would you say that? Well, your mannerisms and how you talk to me. I said, oh, her ex is a gangster in jail doing life in jail. I said, you used to men calling you out of your name and disrespecting you. But so when a man comes to you with some type of respect, you think something's wrong with me.
Seems soft. Yeah.
But it's okay though. I'm very content with who I am.
Right.
Bro, we just have to talk more like this with each other, bro.
So the sad part, man. No. Yeah. Come on. Come with it.
No, because I mean, y'all just right there. I'm gonna be bluntly honest right now about some real stuff for me right now. So
getting real. I mean, we've been real, but it's getting real.
I'll be married to my wife 15 years in June. My wife has just left the home. She left me and my 4 kids. I have abandonment issues. My kids now have abandonment issues. I speak to a lot of men that know the situation and they like, bruh, I don't know how you did it. because I did a lot. I was scared of my wife leaving, right? Now, I'll tell you that I'm trusting and believing and praying because I know that my wife is going to return back to me. Now, I don't need my wife. Before I needed her. Check this out. I done learned how to braid my own baby's hair.
I'm with
I'm
it.
good. I'm good. I'm good. But what God has shown me is how much better I see her as what God sees her. Now, she has the decision to, go that way or not. But the reason that I continue to fight for my marriage is because God has shown me what our marriage and what our life is going to be. I can't change her. I can't do nothing about that. All I can continue to do is do what God has told me to do. And it's all about the love. She doesn't understand love. So she doesn't truly understand some of the things that I'm doing is completely out of love. Like me just taking care of me. Check it out. Y'all see the shoes in the back, right? I can't give you some shoes that I don't have.
Facts.
I can't give them to you. So until I know love, I can't give it to you. And guess what? Love ain't always yes. It just ain't. It just ain't. Even in marriage, when we're talking about the Bible doesn't state that marriage is happy. You know what I'm saying? But like, you don't get married to be happy. God has set certain standards. Now, happiness is a byproduct of the marriage part, but we ain't always going to be happy. We're going to have to go through some trials and tribulations and grow to better. And I came from a broken family. And like you were saying, Courtney, like you was being left, you know what I'm saying? I was talking to my mom and I asked my mom, I said, hey, why was you never there? Like I used to live with my grandfather. I used to live with my auntie. I used to live here and I used to live there. And she was like, I was always there. I know in my heart that wasn't the truth. She was doing what she could do in that time. And sometimes we have to realize that our parents aren't perfect and that we can't be like, oh, this. I'm breaking off generational curses from my family and for my children as well. So, and I feel like I'm going through, and I'm saying a whole lot, but like, this is important to me right here. Like one of the big things for me is my son, like he came in today. I'm just doing work. He just came in and he wanted a hug. And I gave him a hug. Bro, I love you. I love you. I didn't get that, but I'm breaking that off. My son knows that he can walk in the door, ask for a hug from his father, and get love. Nothing else. Ain't nothing weird about, bro. That's just what it is. But it took this long for this to happen, for me to understand that it's not even, for me, like y'all was saying, self-love. I take it even further because I'll love myself and I'll be confident in myself. But the confidence that God has for me and the confidence and the love that God has for me and the confidence that God has for me is completely different. So I need to set my eyes to how God sees me. That's what I have to go through a lot of times. Because I'll say, like you said, I'm confident, I'm looking good, I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? I'm straight. But God has a better plan for me. You know, he got some words for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing for me.
So this is what the Lord showed me, right? What'd you say?
I apologize.
Did y'all hear that?
Yeah, that's Siri talking through my phone.
Oh, I was like, yo, what?
I was like, was that Shiny?
It was like,
I didn't see my mouth, so I'm not sure what just happened.
Like, yo, we ain't ever getting off the line. He is right here, right now.
Don't rush me, B. But yo, so again, I'm like, yo, I think I'm amazing. Like, I
Yeah.
think I'm dope. Like, I think I'm talented. Like all this stuff, right? And not from an overinflated state. Just I have confidence in myself. You know what I'm saying? So I always thought that was rooted in my identity in Christ, but I was mistaken. Like that was my own assessment of me. This is what this is what I had to learn, man. My therapist asked me, she said, what does value mean to you? And so I was like, yo, I'm a businessman. I majored in business in school. Like value is, the rate at which something can be exchanged for something else. And she was like, yeah, see, we gotta strip all of that out of it. She was like, I want you, because I actually had a Christian therapist. She said, I want you to study the scriptures and come back next week and tell me what you think, how you think God sees value. Bruh, I've been saved since 2002. I've been preaching since 2003. And you ever hear the phrase like the simplicity of Christ? Bruh, we get so far away from some of the most elemental things, that just the foundational things. Like you start putting all these layers and layers on stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know how in the world sometime between 2002 and last year, I lost sight of some of the most simplistic stuff. I started digging through the scriptures and stuff, and the Lord was like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm doing what the therapist told me to do. He was like, do you not know John 3:16? I said, yeah, of course, everybody knows John 3:16. He said, say it out loud. So you so love the world that you gave your only begotten son, and whosoever believes him should not perish, have everlasting life. He said, I so love who? I said, the world. He said, that I did what? I said, you gave. He said, who did I give? I said, you gave your son. He said, do you think I gave my son for somebody of no value?
Ooh.
He was like, he said, would you give your son to die for somebody who wasn't worth the life of your son? I'm like, bro, don't talk to me like that. You and the therapist, y'all on the same stuff. Y'all coming at me crazy. Like, I don't appreciate this at all. Oh yeah, man, come on.
Listen, because me and Jesus have some real conversations too.
Yeah, nah. Listen, I ain't got time for none of that pretentious, none of that stuff. Look, the Lord literally lives inside of us, so He know exactly how we think, feel, talk. I don't put on nothing fake to Jesus. Nothing. We talk straight up. He talked to me straight up. I talk to him straight up.
I'll tell God. I can tell him a couple times, like, yo, bro, check this out, man. This ain't what we doing today. This is not, I'm not doing this today.
But it hit me though, like, no. So this is the other thing. Excuse me. The creator of any item is the one who sets the value of it. No one else. No one else. If you design a clothing line right now, you are responsible for setting the price for that item as the creator of the item. Now, whether or not the market decides to purchase your item at said price is not your concern. As the creator, someone out there who sees the value in it will pay the price that you set. And if the people ain't buying it, then some of those people ain't your customers.
Right.
So again, my business mind, that's how the Lord is talking to me. So He brings it back to me like, son, I created you. I set your value. I gave up a third of the Godhead so that you could have abundant life to the full till it overflows in the earth. Who are you to say you ain't as valuable as I say you are? Who gave you the authority to reset your value? I'm the one who establishes your value. And if I see you valuable, every other assessment is unauthorized. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, yo, I'm out here internally devaluing myself. And I don't even have the authority to do so. I think I'm in charge of me. Clearly, I am mistaken.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
put
not
yourself on discount.
Come on, you can't. Ain't no sales.
Ain't no sales tag, dog. Ain't no sales tag.
But it tripped me out though. Like it really spoke to me. It really, really ministered to me because I'm like, I'm making this so hard. I'm making this so complicated for no reason. No, you are the creator. You set the value. You literally, when he told me, when he brought it home to me, he's like, would you give your son up for somebody who wasn't worth it? Man, I'm like, bruh.
Ooh.
Okay,
Check this out. Would you
Nobody
give
would.
I want to hop in here real quick. I know I ain't
Yeah,
said
please, come on,
Yeah,
man. Come on, come with it.
yeah, because
It's always the quiet one who got these nuggets.
yeah,
Come with
you know
them.
what I'm
Come
saying?
with them.
Where's the pad at? Because I know some fire's about to come.
Yeah, it's about to be blazing.
Yo, let me just tell you this. I don't know about Courtney, but I definitely heard about Mike's and Dee's situation and the aspect of going through divorce. One of the things that I realized, like, the aspect of you as a man takes a hit very hard when a situation happens, because we always are the overseer of the house, and we're supposed to make sure we watchmen, and that we just expect everything to always work out. But you know, it don't matter if you're married or if you're a Christian, it rains on the just and the unjust. We all know you just got to learn how to get better at it. But one of the things that I definitely, well, I would say it's a few different things that I realized. First and foremost, I had to recognize that though a person is in your life, it doesn't mean they're meant to be in your life, all of your life. You know what I'm saying? So you have to recognize the situation of what's happening first and foremost, and what's happening to you, like the situation with Mike. I mean, call a spade, man. You know what I'm saying? She was just using you. She saw a good dude. And what I don't like about it is because you always hear women bashing men for not treating them right, but we never hear the story about how women don't treat men right and kind of change good men to become the ways that they become.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
I
did what was right, it didn't work. So maybe if I go treat them like the way the other people treat them,
if I go left,
maybe I'll get the result that I want, because I want love too, right?
Yeah.
But even in the midst of that, you got people with integrity and stuff. So the next thing I would say I had to do for myself when I was going through the situation of D and Mike, I had to forgive myself. You know what I'm saying? I took a pause. And most people think you got to forgive others. And we talking about self and self-love. You got to forgive yourself. Because sometimes you holding yourself back by still thinking about what you did. You already recognized it, but now you got to forgive yourself so you can move forward. Because you get so stagnant in the past, you never really start propelling yourself to where you got to go in the future. And then after that, after you've forgiven yourself, you got to take accountability. Okay, I can't take accountability that she did me wrong and stuff like that. I got to take accountability for the fact that what is it that I could have did? So that's when you learn about things. How can I got more knowledge, more information? I perished because I really didn't have. I had books of the love languages and all that in my cabinet.
Hey, come on.
Seasoning, and I ain't read none of that was in there. So that was my fault because I didn't read none of that to happen, right? And then the last thing I would say, man, and I love this and it's great, is because self-love is creating boundaries. That's my new book that I done got, is recently creating boundaries. Because sometimes you got to say, nah, you show up here, your feelings going to get hurt, because I'm catching this plane by myself. Because because if I can't pour into myself or let God spend his time with me, if I can't have my burning bush moment, I can't come back to you glowing, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm sitting here giving it, and then you think about it though, man, when you in an empty cup, and just like Courtney was talking about, when your cup is empty, you start, let's just be 100. You start feeling some resentment towards situations like, y'all really
everything that you poured into. Everything that you poured into, you like, I'm doing all this for y'all, and I'm sitting over here emptying them. Yeah, boy, you right.
All the L's. I'm taking all the L's where I could have just created this boundary and I would have been happy, and then you would have just respected it. You know what I'm saying? You can't come into the center of the Holy of Holies with me if you can't respect the fact of taking your shoes off and respecting this sacred place that I call myself.
Yeah.
You can't respect it. I got to do what I need to do to protect myself. I need to put my oxygen mask on and breathe so I can be able to give back to you.
Man.
But the last thing I'll go on though too is finding your purpose. And money will come and those things of that nature, because Courtney was talking about people who make all this money. The crazy part about it is I found my purpose, my passion. I stayed real to it, even when everybody else jumped ship. And I kind of look at it in a situation with Job. Job knew I had to sit here and ride it out with God. Everybody else is gonna sit here and jump ship, but I'm gonna stay on board, like, you know what I'm saying? Everything that's going on, and yet I still trust you. I trust the fact that this is my purpose. This is what I got to do. And as men, it's a book called The Way of the Superior Man. And I love that book because it explains the fact that if you don't know your purpose, if you make a lot of money or not, a woman can't follow you. Your kids won't follow you. The thing is, can't sit here and fulfill nothing in anybody else's life if you ain't true to self. So when you ain't being true and 100 with yourself, nobody else gonna be you. Nobody else is gonna go the path that you're going. So you gotta know, as men and as leaders, we gotta know that this, if we're gonna follow God 100%, you gotta know your purpose in life, and the rest will come. But
that's the key,
brother.
That's the key right there, dude.
So I'm gonna just drop this in here. You know, the thing that comes to mind for me is like when God created everything, then he created Adam and he put him in the garden. He had given him his purpose and he knew what he was supposed to do before he even brought the woman along. And a lot of times, you know, people get that switched up, and I can speak as for women too. Sometimes women be like, well, they have potential, and you know, so I'm gonna help them get to that place. But if a man doesn't know who God has called him to be before you come into the picture, like it's just not going to work out, because they're always going to be lost in the sauce pretty much. And then anything that you try to do, they're going to, you know, if they don't know their purpose and they're not in line with what God called them to do, if you're trying to walk in your purpose, I'm talking to you ladies, then you're not going to be able to fulfill what God has called you to fulfill. And you can't be a helpmate to that man because you don't even know what he's supposed to be doing. So I think he got his hand raised.
Coming back again.
Hand raised out there. I'm just trying to help the women out here watching this and stuff.
I'm coming for the women. I'm coming for the women and the men right now. Let's just go back. I'm gonna stay on task of the Adam and Eve situation. So if God gave an instruction to Adam, and the way of the Spirit man explains this, you have to stick to what God told you. You sitting there, you yielding to what your wife's saying right now. She gonna talk to the serpent, and you ain't gonna say that. You're gonna just sit back in the background. And so often, men will sit in the background and allow them to cause destruction in the household and be like, well, I don't know what to do. When you should have said from the first place, I'd rather, and that's the thing that I had to learn how to do, is be okay with having conflict. I'm okay with us banging it out if we can get to the point where we got it to.
Healthy conflict. Healthy conflict.
Yes.
No, absolutely.
But healthy saying like, that ain't right, and I can't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, in that situation, it's like, and sometimes men have to be honest in the aspect of, still, women usually know the answer to the thing, but still giving your opinion because they want you to actually tell your side. They want you to be honest with yourself. And the book explains all of this stuff. So it's definitely great. I tell everybody with that.
And why are men afraid of conflict? You know, I speak for myself personally. You know, I believe a lot of times men are silent because they're afraid that women hold sex above men's heads. You know, they'll withhold from you. You know, a lot of men keep their mouths shut because they don't want to have that conflict with their wives, you know, or with their girlfriends, whoever it may be. But it comes a point where we have to stand up for what's right and speak. You know, we are men, and they're saying happy wife, happy life.
I hate that.
Great. What about the king in the house? If the king is not happy, something is wrong. And when the king is happy, he takes care of everyone. You know, so that king is valuable. I am valuable. I'm Jeremiah 1:5, I believe. And Courtney, when you were talking earlier about your worth, Jeremiah 1:5 says, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified, appointed or set apart thee. And I ordained to decree, and ordained me to decree something officially. Decree is an official order issued by legal authority, and that legal authority is God. I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. And my father today can't read, he can't write. So the devil would always tell me I'll be dumb, I'll be stupid. I wouldn't be able to speak, but I've always had this thing in me where I want to speak to someone. I wanted to help someone, you know, but until I learned what God had to say about me, that is all that matters. That's all that matters. And again, I can't stress enough. There was a statistics done on men in prison. I think it was 75 to almost 80% of the men in prison. They did a survey and they interviewed these men and asked these men, was your father in the household as a kid? And over 75% of those men said no. That if they would have said 40%, that would have been a high number. But 70 to 75%, that's a huge number. That's almost 100% of the men. They don't.
So we innately desire a man to call out the man inside of us as a child, to call forth the man in the boy. You understand what I'm saying? And so when God said before, he talking to Jeremiah specifically, before you were in the room, I knew you, I had ordained you a prophet. This go back to what we was talking about earlier too. In order for us to love us, we have to know who we are. You got to know who the person is you're going to love, because that person has to be loved a particular way in order to feel fulfilled. If you don't know who you are, you're going to be trying a bunch of different loves. You'll be trying a bunch of different things, and you'll still find yourself miserable, even though the things around you are dope. Even though the like the flowers of your tree are blooming, the tree is still gonna be suffering. You understand what I'm saying? So the average person on the outside see, oh, your life is dope, but on the inside, you know something ain't right, because even though I'm doing these things, you know, even though I'm watering it, it ain't right. Well, because it's not a water issue, it's a fertilizer issue, it's a soil issue, it's a sunlight issue. But you gotta, when you know who that person is, you know how to properly give them what they need. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of us, a lot of men, and this probably happens to a lot of women too, I just haven't had this conversation with women, but over the course of marriage and child raising, you lose yourself in your family and what your family needs in order for them to succeed, and for the people around you, for all that y'all talked about, your hopes and dreams and aspirations, try to help people get to where they're going. You lose yourself. And so I was 40 years old and was like, I know who I am. No, I don't.
No, you don't.
And I had to go back. And when I got back and the Lord revealed to me who I was, I'm like, yeah, I used to know that. I knew that before. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you didn't tell me nothing new. Everything you just said to me, I knew at 28. Well, what happened between 28 and 40? You know what I'm saying? Like, I picked up a lot of extra life, and I laid down a lot of extra me in order to accommodate that extra life. You understand what I'm saying? And so, and I think a lot of moms probably go through the same thing. Like, you know, some of these women are so doggone talented, and they got all these dope gifts and talent, but they lay them down when they had children. It's like, no, sweetheart, have the kids, but go back and open that catering business. Like, don't lay down a part of why God put you on the earth. You're supposed to make this food. Like, you're supposed to be a blessing to people. You're supposed to do whatever. But I just feel like in general, we go through this adaptation of absorbing everything that we've added to our lives. And we, like, for instance, this brother, what is your name? It say Living Legacy. What's your name?
Man, you call me Russell.
Russell, okay.
Most people call me RJ, so you can call me RJ.
RJ.
Mama call you Russell, I'm gonna call you Russell.
Hey, your mama name, please. I'm gonna call
my mama call him King, so
I call him that too. But back to I lost what I was gonna say. What was I saying?
It'll come back to you.
Well, here, this gonna come back to you. I'll say this about Mike and them. And Mike was at the point where he was talking about women were questioning him and his sexuality because he was being true to self. And often I look at it, people will change, men and women will change and give this person a representative of who they are just to get in a relationship with them. And so when you meeting the representative of life and you start trying to become your real self again, it don't work out later on in life.
That's that. I'm glad you said that, because you're right. That's a perfect segue. Yeah, you got me right back on track. That's my guy. That's my guy. So that's exactly right. You reintroduce yourself, and then it's not the same. You know what I'm saying? But to lay down yourself, this is where it gets tricky. This is where, if you don't understand loving self and you start to pick up scripture, you can misunderstand how to appropriate that scripture to your life. So when it says no greater love than this, than one who will lay down his life for his friend, you know that means all the way up to the physical laying down of your life, but you also understand that it means metaphorically the laying down of things to accommodate someone being in your life, right? Or, you know, I'll lay down my wants and desires in this instance so that you can have what you need, vice versa. The problem with that is if you're understanding of the only way to love people is to lay down your life, then that love is only sacrificial. Then you're in this consistently one-sided relationship with everybody. And now it goes back to what RJ was saying. Now you're resenting people that have no idea why you can't stand them right now. Even though you love them, they get on your last nerve because they don't know that they're the 17th person this week to ask you for something and you still haven't done anything for yourself yet. They don't know that. They only know you to be someone who's always there for them. They don't know a person who says, I've established a boundary. Saturday mornings are now off limits because I have to do the things that fulfill me. And if that's a problem for you, then I'm just happy causing that problem because I have to take care of me. My homeboy said something to me. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna let you roll. My homeboy said something to me that was so groundbreaking for me. He said, if you want to know if someone is actually for you, choose you in front of them and watch their reaction.
And when you
it changed my life.
The word.
At some point, you get exposure to a real man, and you have to decide whether or not you're going to acknowledge the fact that this is a real man doing something that I deem to be vulnerable or weak or whatever. But the thing about vulnerability is it actually requires more strength to be vulnerable than it does to not be vulnerable.
Yes.
True.